Hi friends, welcome back to the shop. Just a quick word today on breaker bars. Now, if you're not familiar with breaker bars, the idea is that you get a lot more leverage if you're trying to remove a fastener that's it's got a lot of torque down on it. I have not really bought breaker bars in the past because I have impact wrenches, but there are times when you want to have controlled force. You're dealing with something where you really shouldn't be using an impact, and you need something, a lot of leverage, very controlled leverage. So I got into looking for a breaker bar, and I picked this one up at Harbor Freight on sale. And before I got this though, I walked into Lowe's and I looked at a Sears Craftsman breaker bar. They had a 15-inch Craftsman breaker bar for, I think at the time, around $35. This is at Harbor Freight for $13. And this is 25 inches long. So you get a great deal more leverage with this breaker bar. Now, from my perspective, you could, of course, spend a lot more on a breaker bar. I think Snap-on's breaker bar is around $177 right now. And of course, that's subject to change with inflation and everything else going on. But one thing I like about this is, of course, in addition, it's not something you're using all the time. It's something that it's on an as-needed basis. I think what I found in my research is that 25-inch seems to be the sweet spot for folks. Now, sometimes that might get in your way. The whole thing could be a little too long and you're in a tight spot, it doesn't fit. But I think for the cost of this one, it's a happy medium. Now, Harbor Freight sells a breaker bar, I think it's the Pittsburgh line, but it was out of stock in the two stores that I checked, and they didn't have an ETA on when it would arrive. So I just decided to go with this. The other one would have been about $20, the Pittsburgh, with the padded grip down here. Now, one thing about this breaker bar is you can see right here that it's heavier in terms of the way they've created this. Instead of having the fork on the bar itself, they've put the fork as part of the half-inch anvil. And what's interesting about this, from my perspective, is this is stronger. This design is stronger. When you go to torque this down, this is going to give you more strength. The fact that the fork is on this part of the tool, the anvil part, instead of here. So something interesting I found as I was researching this. The other thing I noticed was the finish on this is not the best finish. I came home and I took some quadruple zero steel wool and worked on it for a little bit to sort of smooth out the finish, and it improved. But for no more than I use this, I think this is a good way to go. I mean, we're not talking about a torque wrench that's something you need a unique, an accurate measurement, and it has calibrated and all that. We're really just looking for leverage here. And one thing I like about not having a padded grip down here is, there's no concerns about damaging the padded grip or getting exposed to oil or fading damage, whatever might happen to it. I mean, this thing, should be good to go. But the bigger thing to think about is if you're going to put a pipe over this particular breaker bar. I'll just show a quick example here. The piece of PVC pipe. You can see we can slide over this no problem and increase our leverage, whether this is PVC or metal, metal pipe, whatever you're using. But my point is that since this is not a padded grip handle, you can fit a pretty small pipe over this, and that's going to give you more options for increasing the leverage. So one of the benefits of not having one of those padded grips, I think. But yeah, this like I said, for no more than it's used, and when you need additional leverage, this is, I think, a good way to go. I've got one socket here. It does have the ball on it. Of course, you want to line it with these impact sockets. I want to line that ball up. But yeah, that's the idea. You line up. Get square on whatever you're trying to back off, whatever kind of fastener, and just gives you a tremendous amount of leverage. Now, when I've used this, I've noticed that there's not much deflection. In fact, it seemed to me, because I did try out a Tecton, which is about $50, and only because that's what they had in stock, a Tecton with a padded grip. But from my point of view, there was less deflection, it appeared to me, with this one. And of course, I believe, and I've seen different torque, you can look at all kinds of torque tests on breaker bars where they test them to their failure point, and they typically fail right here, actually at the anvil right here is where they fail. So, you know, this will twist off, but they all fail at 200 plus pounds. So whether it's, you know, 220, 230 pounds or like 260 pounds, or where some of the higher end tools failed, to me, this is going to do the job, right? We know we're going to have good torque. It's going to exceed 200 pounds in terms of its failure point. It's good enough. And I mean, you know, for the job, there's no ratcheting mechanism. There's no finesse to this tool. It's really just having leverage when you need it on occasion. And it is a lot of metal here in this tool. And, you know, to me, it's a good way to go. So just wanted to show that real quick. Like I said, Harbor Freight had like $3 off of it right now, which to me was a great price, especially compared to what, you know, you see in your typical big box store. You know, you're getting more leverage with the length. You're getting a design that's common, and I would say a more desirable design in this the round handle and the overall length of it. 25 inches is a good amount of leverage. And by the way, when you are using this, there is some level of deflection. This bar will bend a little bit. That's referred to as deflection, and that's not a bad thing. I mean, that's by design. It's going to flex a little bit, and you know, as long as it's not so much that it's going to snap back, you're going to be fine. So anyway, just a quick word on what I think is a good way to go for particularly a half-inch breaker bar to have in your tool set, just in case you need leverage and an impact wrench doesn't fit the job. With that said, please consider liking and subscribing, and we'll catch you on the next video.